Hello. Hello, hello. Hello. What the heck? Hello. Can anybody hear me? Can you let me know if you can hear me? I don't know. Why am I... Can anybody hear me? Oh, you can hear me? Can you tell me one more time if you can hear me? Hello. Oh, cool. I think Cody's gonna come on. And if anyone else wants to come on, how's everyone doing today? Right now, I'm barbecuing in my backyard. Give me 1 second. Let me leave the link in the chat. How's everybody's? Dude, yeah, it is so hot right now in SoCal. All right, Cody, let me know when you're on, and then I can, or let me know when you're backstage. So, yeah, right now it is really hot. Where are you guys watching from? Right now I'm in Antelope Valley. I'm by the desert, and I'm streaming outside right now. Let's see what's on the news today. Anything interesting? Oh, what the heck? What? What happened here? Oh my god. Well, I'll tell you what I see right away. Okay, so it says Saudi Arabia 1,301 died on a Hajj this year. Saudi Arabia said Sunday that more than 1,300 people died on this year's Hajj pilgrimage, with numerous cases due to heat stress and unauthorized trips accounting for more than 4 out of 5 of the fatalities. Oh, thanks. You there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right.
What's up, man?
What's
Dude,
up?
did you see this? Did you see this thing I was just sharing?
No. What is it?
Can you? Are you able to see the screen? Oh,
Oh yeah, I see it. I see it now.
dude, I swear, man, I've been talking about this 13:1, Revelation 13:1.
Yeah.
Like what?
Oh,
Like
that was.
how weird is that? 1,301 died.
Yeah. I mean, that was at Hajj too, right? That went from Trump's to my birthday. I talked about that. That's crazy, and it's because of the heat too. And I think that's going to go with the overarching theme right now of the fire, the woman on fire, the concept that I've been talking about. That's interesting.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, no, yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's a good point. Sorry, it's like I'm kind of because I don't have both of my screens right now, so I'm like kind of going back. I'm not used to using one screen, so I'm um
Yeah, man, no
so
problem.
yeah.
Whatever.
Do you want to share your screen? Do you want to do you have
I
stuff on
don't
that
I don't have a presentation ready, but I mean I can share it and go over some stuff. I mean the Hajj thing is I didn't know. I had heard people had died, but hadn't seen like anything on it. But again, I think that's going to go along with a lot of different things we've been talking about, and the Saturn thing, the Venus thing. Um, yeah, I think there's definitely something to look into there, but I haven't looked into that much. But I do have some stuff that might be tied to that with tomorrow. Um, so yeah, I'll share my screen.
Sorry, I was just adjusting some stuff, but okay. Let me. All right, I see your screen. I'm also multitasking right now. I'm like barbecuing at the same
Oh
time
man,
right now.
you could have waited longer. I could have waited longer if you had something to finish.
Oh no, no, it's cool. I wanted to do it at the same time because um I just have like a little setup in the backyard and I wanted to um something to do while I was waiting for the food to cook. So
Okay, yeah.
yeah.
Um, I don't know. Can you see my screen? Is it coming up?
Yeah, I can see your screen.
Um, it doesn't have to do with this, but maybe it does have to do with this now. But I was just looking into this movie, The Ring. But I'm gonna talk a bit about, Sean. You're gonna be familiar with all this. Um, Chris Benoit, the wrestler who killed himself and his family exactly 17 years ago to today and tomorrow. Well, he killed his son. Today is the 17th anniversary of him killing his son. And his wife, he killed on the 22nd. So the 3-day period, the 22nd of 2007, June 22nd, June 23rd, June 24th, 2007. It was brought to my attention that Chris Benoit was from spent most of his life in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Well, there's some interesting things here to think about because Edmonton is where one of the hockey teams is from. And lo and behold, the Edmonton Oilers can win the Stanley Cup tomorrow on the anniversary of Edmonton boy Chris Benoit's death.
Oh wow.
And remember how I talked about, Sean, the chance that the Dallas Mavericks could come back from down 3-0 and make it 3-3, like magic equals 33.
Yeah.
Well, it ended up being the Oilers that did this.
Oh shoot. I wasn't even keeping track with the.
Yeah, remember they were down 3-0 at the same time the Mavericks were down 3-0.
Oh shoot.
So it's the Oilers who came back down 3-0, and that's very rare. In the NHL, it has happened before. In the NBA, it's never happened. But in the NHL, it has happened before, but not often. So, and the Oilers are a Canadian team, and a Canadian team has not won the Stanley Cup in the NHL for I don't know how many years, but I need to look into that. But it's been a long time. And this whole thing between the Oilers and Panthers is about the oil in Saudi Arabia, I believe, which would connect with what you just brought up. Remember, Saudi Arabia declined or turned down the deal that they had with the United States to sell their oil in U.S. dollars on June 9th was the last day. So now you have Florida, who was up 3-0 at one time in this series, and now the Oilers have a chance to come back and win. And I'm not saying they're going to absolutely, but it wouldn't surprise me. It's just very interesting that it's come down to this. And
you don't have anything.
As you guys can see, Chris Benoit, who died on June 24th, 2007, tomorrow will be again his death anniversary, and he's from Edmonton. That's where the Edmonton Oilers are from. And so,
Wait, he died at age 40. Is that how old he was?
think so. Yeah, 40. Mm-hmm.
Dude, can you look up how old his son was?
7.
Oh my god.
What's that? Why?
Because that's how old I was when my dad died at age 40.
What? Really?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I know. Anyways.
I mean.
Oh, and he was born in. Oh, no, his wife was born in. No, wait. What's the 1988? His wife was born in 1988. Wait, he had 2 wives.
He had a couple wives, yeah, but
he got married in 1988. Oh, okay. Yeah, I was like, what the heck?
Well, yeah, this first wife I don't know much about, but the second wife, the wife that he killed. Okay, so apparently, he killed her on June 22nd, 2007, right? Well, look at the name. She was a wrestler also. And first of all, let me show you what her name equals. You might find this interesting. Notice that Nancy, her name equals Rose in 3 out of 4 ciphers. And of course, you guys know the reason I'm bringing that up is because I just did a whole video about the Venus Rose and the connection between the Venus Rose and the death of Donald Sutherland. So there's definitely a connection here, but what I'm trying to say is Nancy equals Rose, right? So how does this girl have a connection to Venus Rose? Well, remember, the Venus Rose equals 138. Well, it just so happens that this Nancy Benoit was born. Wait till you see this, Sean. Guess what day she was born on? Let me go back to her birthday, 1964, May 17th. So Nancy Benoit.
Oh my God.
Nancy Benoit was born on the 138th day of the year, the same year Kamala was born also. So she's a wood dragon.
Wait, is that wait, what year? Oh, the 64th. That's not a leap year, is it?
No. I
On
don't
a
think
leap,
it.
on a leap.
No, it is a leap year. It is a leap year,
Oh, okay.
isn't
Oh
it?
yeah,
Yeah.
because you're saying. Oh yeah, because you're saying that it leaves 227. Wait, is that the
Right.
backwards date of? Is that the backwards date of 815?
Yeah.
Oh shoot.
Well, I mean, technically, the backwards date of 815 is normally 518, but in a leap year, it would be kind of like 517, which is her birthday.
Mhm.
So what's even crazier is this all comes together with all these events right now because this Venus stuff is connected to the 255. And remember, guys, Queen Elizabeth was born exactly 255 Venus orbits after the Venus transit that just turned 255 years old on June 3rd this year, right after the woman president in Mexico was elected. And remember, the woman president, you guys remember when the woman president who was elected on the anniversary of the Venus transit, her birthday is literally tomorrow, guys.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So do you guys understand what they're doing here? Like this is absolutely insane because you have last week you had the WWE in Corpus Christi, which is where the WWE Corpus Christi, well, Trump was convicted on the feast day of Corpus Christi. And then last Monday in Corpus Christi, there was a massacre in the WWE with the return of the group, the Wyatt Six. And remember, Chris Benoit, who murdered his family, he was supposed to show up at Corpus Christi the day of his death. So that was the first clue. And then it was brought to my attention that the Oilers, which is where he's from, Edmonton, have a chance to win the World or the Stanley Cup on the death anniversary of him, right? So this comes together perfectly. And again, it comes together with this 255. So remember, I told you that Venus, well, first of all, the word rose, we're talking about the Venus rose. So rose equals 255, right? And again, this year was the 255th anniversary of the Venus transit, right, of 1769. And the Venus transit, so this woman, I just told you she was born on the 138th day of the year, which is the Venus rose. If you guys didn't watch my video, you guys might not understand fully, but like this is the number associated with the Venus rose. And then not only is she born on that day, but she went by a wrestling name. She went by 3 different wrestling names that are quite interesting. She went by Devil Angel, Fallen Angel, and Woman. So she went by 3 names that I would associate with this theme that we're talking about. Woman, right? Venus represents the woman. Mary equals rose, the Venus rose. And so she went by the name just woman. Like she literally just called herself woman. And she called herself fallen angel. Well, in gematria, fallen angels, plural, equals 255 and 108. The reason that 108 is important is because that number could also be looked at like 18. And if you type in the word Venus, it equals 81 and 18. So there's a huge connection between the 1881 with Venus and the stadium that they're going to be at tomorrow on the death anniversary of Chris Benoit in the WWE is going to be Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Am I still on? I just didn't hear Sean, so let me make sure. Can you still hear me, Sean? Hey, Truth Spirit, I don't know why you're getting so rude in the chat, but we're not looking at the chat. He's cooking and I'm doing a presentation, so I can't read your comments, but much love to you. I'm not going to ever say anything bad about you. So I don't know why you're so impatient. I'm sure Sean would answer your chat when he's done cooking. But what you're saying? What are you saying? Sutherland Road, next to Lawrence, New Jersey. I guess Sean's gone right now. I guess something happened with Sean. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, you're trying to talk?
Wait, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Oh my god,
hear you now.
I'm so stupid because I have I have a mute button on my mic too, and I forgot that I thought because it said that my mic was working, and then I didn't realize I had the mute button on. My bad.
Oh yeah, no problem. I just wondered what happened because I saw you were still there, but I didn't hear you, so it was like, huh. But
No, yeah, I saw. No, I was keeping up with all that. That was like insane. Yeah, like all that stuff with his wife. I was keeping up with it all. I was trying to. I was talking during. Well, I was commenting while you were sharing it, but I guess it wasn't coming through.
Okay, yeah. So I was just pointing out that Fallen Angels equals 108, and the arena they're going to be in tomorrow. Look at the name of the arena they're going to be in tomorrow.
Cambridge, right? With
Gainbridge Fieldhouse,
to,
and look.
Oh, like all
Yeah,
the 18s,
and look at
all those 18s.
Yeah, I mean this is essentially another. Yeah, I mean, but look at the capacity of the stadium.
I'm not seeing it.
18,000 capacity.
Oh shoot! What the heck? Yeah, and then that ties into what Casey was sharing with us about, like Jennifer Lawrence turning 18 Venus years. Is that it?
Yeah, I remember. I think it. Yeah. Yeah, that's what it was.
I don't know who the source of it was. 'Cause I remember I heard it from both of you guys. I think like maybe separately.
Yeah, it
Maybe
was
I'm
Casey.
sure you guys
I think
both.
that originally it was Casey originally brought that up. I think, but Yeah, because so you've got all these connections again to Venus, and that's why I'm kind of like I can't overlook this Venus stuff right now because it seems like it's really important. So the Gamebridge Fieldhouse equals, 180, 108, 108, and then in Sumerian it equals 108, 1080. So it has all kinds of these 108s, which just connects right back to the 18 or the 81, right? And so what I'm pointing out is that this is also in Indianapolis, Indiana. And the thing I can think that this is tied to is because this is where the women's basketball team plays. The Fever. So this is burning, right? Like this is what I think it's like it's Venus. Because Fever
Oh,
is
okay.
like the girl on fire. This is a women's basketball team. And I believe this is going to connect to the Olympics, which I've already shared is the logo for the Olympics is the woman hidden in the flame, right?
Yeah.
So and who plays who's the sensation who now plays for the Fever? Who did the Fever just draft? You guys do you know, Sean?
Um, I don't.
That big star college basketball woman
The
player
Clark
that broke
girl?
that record.
The
Yeah.
Clark girl? Oh, for real?
Yes.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah. So again, that's why I think this is huge because this to me is pointing once again to this burning thing, and I think that's also why the temperatures are high, right, everywhere. In the United States, I think it's record high temperatures. But look at what Indiana fever equals 108.
Oh, my God.
Um,
Oh,
and look at
damn.
what Indiana fever
Wait,
equals
did you?
in the
Wait, you saw that, right?
triangular.
Yeah, I was about to say. Yeah, I was about to say.
So 787 is the 138th prime, the Venus Rose.
But you can still hear me, right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, were you gonna get down? Did you see
So
that
what
172 as
gets
well?
even? I saw that. Yeah, you mean in the Kabbalah, right? Right here. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um. So what I really want to, so basically, what I'm telling you guys. This is all connected to Venus, and considering that Chris Benoit's wife, her nickname was Fallen Angel, and she was born in Boston, Massachusetts. Now, as Derek from Gematinator pointed out earlier, because Derek's the one that brought some of this to my attention, actually, he pointed out that. Let me go back to his comments. Hold on a second. Um, let's see. Okay, so there was a huge connection with Boston. Again, Chris Benoit's wife from Boston. Boston just won the NBA Finals on the day that the Wyatt Six came back on Corpus Christi a week ago. And Boston, that's the day Boston won. And the very first game ever played in this stadium was where the Indiana Pacers play. And remember, the Boston Celtics beat the Indiana Pacers. They beat the Indiana Pacers to make it to the NBA Finals this year. And the very first game ever played in this Gamebridge Fieldhouse. What's up with my Wikipedia? Something's up with this. This is not the right Wikipedia.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean. Did they like change it? Like in.
I mean, I just had the right one up earlier when I was researching, and it made it so much shorter. I don't know what's going on with this. That's the German one. I'm not sure. But anyway, the first game, just take my word for it, the first game ever played by the Indiana Pacers in this stadium they're going to be in tomorrow was against Boston. And
Okay, I will take your word for that.
So Derek from Gematria, he points out that Massachusetts equals 808 in Latin, and the 808th prime number is 6211, and tomorrow's exactly 6211 days after Benoit died.
Oh shoot!
So it connects to Boston perfectly. It connects to Benoit, and yeah, it's insane because. Also, think about this, Sean. Tomorrow is the anniversary of the Freemasonry Lodge in 1717.
Right.
And tomorrow will be exactly 17 years after Benoit died.
Wow. That's interesting because wasn't there also a lot of connections with 17 in Boston? Was Bill Russell number 17? Or not Larry Bird, but I thought I remember like hearing from Zach's channel. I think he was like, I thought it had to do with Bill Russell, but I'll try to remember. If I can remember, I'll let you know.
Yeah, there might have been. Like I didn't really see any 17s. I saw lots of 7s. But in a way that kind of still works because 17 is the 7th prime. So
there is an interesting time span that I found with tomorrow. Can you go from 9/11 to tomorrow, and then I forget if it's with or without the end date, but just look at the weeks.
Oh yeah, the 1189.
Yeah. That's the one I was looking at.
I think I actually saw that before too when I was. Yeah, I actually think I saw that before too when I was looking at this day.
Yeah. Just to remind anyone who's not familiar with that number, that's the total chapters in the Bible, 1,189 total chapters in the Bible. So always find I was kind of looking out for that number, and then other things equal 11892. Like I think Donald Trump or Donald J. Trump, one of his variations equals 1189 in Latin.
Yeah. Interesting. That is interesting because look, it's the 176th day of the year tomorrow. You see that, Sean?
That's a good catch.
I mean, not only does he have the 1189, but he also has the 176.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's the 176th day of the year.
Yeah.
And Chris Benoit's original name in Japan was the Pegasus Kid. Look at this.
Wow.
Yeah, just so you guys can see what this 589 is. So Donald Trump equals 589. The Pegasus Kid. My computer's just so slow, man.
Yeah, Casey would have fun with that, because he's been talking about Pegasus a lot.
Yeah. The Pegasus Kid and Donald Trump equals 589 in the same cipher. And again, tomorrow is the death anniversary of the Pegasus kid, Chris Benoit, and it's 1189 weeks after 9/11. Donald J. Trump, 1189, 176. It's the 176th day of the year. How many years anniversary of the Freemasonry is it?
Well, we're in the 248th year, right? Oh, no, sorry, that was Illuminati.
Oh, wow.
Whoa,
That's interesting.
what the heck? Whoa, look at that. Go to the day when Donald Sutherland died. I mean, go to the weeks. Oh my God, that's crazy.
Yep.
That is insane.
Yep, that's so we're in the 1618 week of the Freemasonry, man. And it's 307 years. And that's like 3 sevens, like 777. But yeah, the
That's a good
63rd
point.
prime too.
That's a good point. That 1618 is
Um,
crazy though. Because remember also the 418 p.m. is 16 hours 18 minutes.
right. And let me just bring back up all the ciphers here. So there was something else I wanted to bring together here. I keep forgetting. Well, don't forget Donald Trump equals 138. That ties in with all this other stuff I'm talking about. The Venus Rose. But again, Chris Benoit's wife, born on the 138th day of the year. In my opinion, she represents Venus, the fallen angel, devil angel, woman. That's all of her nicknames. And her name Nancy even equals Rose. I don't know if I remember what her full name equaled. But the big thing here is the Edmonton Oilers can win on the anniversary of Chris Benoit's death. Chris Benoit from Edmonton. Oh, so she has that 93, of course.
The
So
one
that's
two
interesting.
the 1260 is interesting too because it's either Venus Rose, Rose of Venus. Can you try both of those? I know one of those I think is 1216. Okay, maybe it's Venus Rose. Yeah.
Well, I mean, there you go. I mean, there's another connection to that. Her name equals Rose, so but again, this is all connected to whatever is going to happen with the Edmonton Oilers tomorrow. And don't forget the Edmonton Oilers, they have their main player is Connor McDavid. McD again.
Yeah.
He's a star player. I mean, he's like one of the biggest players. And
Is he like the best player in the NHL right now? He's like one of like the top players.
I think so. I mean, one of them. I mean, I don't follow NHL nearly as close as I used to, so I'm not sure if he's like the leading scorer. But I mean, he when he was drafted, he was considered like the next Sidney Crosby or the next Gretzky type character. You know, I mean, I'm sure he's doing. Oh, that's interesting too. You see this? He wears number 97.
Oh yeah,
Remember how
remember
Kamala Harris turns 97. Venus orbits old tomorrow or today.
Oh, wow.
Hold on, or was it Venus or was it? Let me just look. What was it? Yeah, 97 exactly. Venus orbits old.
Wow,
Kamala Harris.
that's crazy.
And then this guy, let me see when his birthday is. 1997 or whatever. 1997. Gosh. January 13th, 1997. Let me see what the difference is here. First thing I can see off the bat, he was born on 113. Kamala Harris was born on 113 date numerology. Oh, look at that. Oh, I thought that was, at first I thought that was the 1618, but it's close.
Oh, yeah.
But there might be a connection there. I mean, it just seems interesting that he wears 97 and Kamala's turning 97 Venus orbits old.
No, that's pretty. I mean, if I were gonna bet money, but I'm not suggesting anybody do that, but I would say it seems like a good chance that he would be the one to win based on that.
Yeah, and you know, this is interesting because it is the golden ratio numbers. I mean, it's the 1618 essentially.
Yeah.
And so they
Also,
were born.
I was gonna say, you can maybe because his birthday is also 13/1, like 13th of January, and that maybe that Hajj thing was like a little clue. You know, the
Not only that,
13,001.
man. Not only that. Look on date numerology. He was born 130 and 31.
Oh, wow.
So let me see what his name equals. I have no idea. Oh, he's got the Andrew in his name. That's interesting. That's.
Oh, he has a wait. So that was wait. Can you go back to the numerologies? It's
which
interesting because
one?
I saw 17 the numerologies is the date numerology. The 1701 is actually pretty interesting. Like that's the year that Freemasonry was founded. You see that? 1701.
Oh, 1701. Oh,
Am I-
okay, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's also 171 is also the 18th triangular number. So that could tie back to the 18. Let's just see what his name. Well, his name equals. Let's see. Just see what his name equals in. I just think this is really tied to this Trump and Drew McIntyre, this MC thing again. Oh, he has the 135.
Oh, nice.
He has that 135. Well, that's interesting because the Wyatt 6 that debuted last week, exactly 7 days before, they come through the door.
Yeah, and then that
know
had
that-
to do with the Corpus Christi thing too, and he has the 1014 Latin. That was the date of the eclipse.
Yeah. He also has he also kind of has an 81 connection here with this. So yeah, I mean, there's something interesting here with tomorrow, and what we're kind of seeing connect. And again, I'm just saying, like, what are the chances that on the anniversary of Benoit's death, Chris Benoit, the place where he's from, can win the Stanley Cup? And it's only because of magic, like a magical comeback. And just notice that he was nicknamed the Canadian Crippler, the Rabid Wolverine.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I forgot to even tell you the most insane part, bro. I left this out, but I think I showed you this, but it lines up perfectly with all this. Watch his full gematria.
Oh my god.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
And that's not even it. Watch if you just type his first and last name in.
Oh my god. Wow.
So with all
That's
this 255, he almost has the look at this in Sumerian. He almost has the 1225 too. That would be
dude.
crazy if
Yeah.
he had.
He has a
Um,
307.
oh, ah. So on Freemasonry turns 307 years tomorrow, and Christopher Benoit equals 307. Um, but yeah, I mean, this is insane because again, if people are just following, the Venus rose. Let me just show them. Let me just show them how important this 255 is. Remember, the transit, 1769 Venus, the eclipse and the Venus transit that happened in 1769 happened on June 3rd. Ah, bro, June 3rd, 63.
Uh-huh. Wait. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, wait, like 1963?
No, no. Well, yeah, that too, but what's 307? The 63rd prime number.
Oh.
So tomorrow Freemasonry turns 307, which is the 63rd prime number, and the Venus transit happened on 6/3, 1769. And
Yeah, I see that.
so let me show them. So Queen Elizabeth, right? This is huge. Like I still think this is like absolutely insanely crazy to me.
Yeah.
Like
Well, while you do that, I'm gonna go grab a napkin real quick. But yeah, just continue. And I'll be back in a second.
no- okay. So do you guys see this right here? For those of you in the chat still. From the Venus transit and the eclipse that happened on June 3rd, 1769, Venus transit, right? To Queen Elizabeth's actual birth on April 21st, 1926 was exactly 255 Venus years. Exactly. No extra days. 255. Okay? And the reason this is important is because this year, the anniversary of the Venus transit on June 3rd was exactly 255 Earth years. So what you guys are seeing is absolutely insane. And 255 Earth years this year, the Venus transit, and from the, the Venus transit to Queen Elizabeth's birth was 255 Venus years. And the reason this is important with Venus is because Venus is associated with the rose, which equals 255.
Okay, I'm back.
All right.
You're going over
So
the Queen Elizabeth's 255 Venus years.
yeah. Let me just clear this out. Let me just. I'm gonna use this new tool that if this works, I don't know why it's not working. Man, why is it not working? Also, did you notice this, man? Like, look at this: 255 years in one day. If you add the day, is 93,138 days.
Oh wow, what the heck? No, I do not.
So you could say that the Venus, the anniversary, if you do a span, would be 93 138. So there's your 138 again.
Wow.
I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, that is.
So Um, man, why is this not clearing out? I don't get it. Pressing the button.
There was something really interesting I found. I guess I haven't really figured out how to um, interpret it fully, but I think if you check Jennifer Lawrence, she was 909, or from the actual Revelation 12 sign to Jennifer Lawrence's birth, I believe that's 990 lunar months, I think.
Wait, from the actual sign? So from this?
Yeah, maybe I was thinking about something else. Wait, do you have the moon up there? Lunar months?
I mean,
Oh,
I
you
can
do.
put this.
Maybe I was thinking about something else.
Do you want me
Oh, well.
to make you a rice?
Oh, yeah.
Is that your mom in the background making you rice?
Yeah.
Oh, hey, mom. Hello, Sean's mom. I would say yes to rice too. I love rice. Um,
Do you eat it over there in Germany?
I mean, rice isn't really big in Germany, but I mean, I do eat rice though. It's just really expensive here, rice in this country because it's not a very popular dish, you know. In Germany they eat something called Spätzle, and it's like egg. It's like a noodle, but it's not like a noodle you're used to. It's like flour and eggs, and it's hard to explain if you don't know, but they basically eat that Spätzle like it's rice. They put like sauce on top of it, and um, you know, that's what I had today actually was Spätzle. But
Is it good?
yeah, it's fairly good. I still prefer rice, but I mean it is good for like German, like they put this like creamy like sauce on it. Like a lot of times they'll make like a cream sauce, like gravy almost. And like today I had like a gravy sauce over Spätzle with vegetables and a bit of meat. But yeah, it's pretty good. But rice, I've always loved rice. I used to eat so much rice growing up, like seriously.
Dude, me too. I didn't even know like what carbs were like when I was growing up, and I was just I didn't know that I didn't know that eating too much rice was kind of like, you know, um, I didn't know that you weren't supposed to. I thought you could just eat as much rice as you wanted, so I just would get like lots of rice.
Right, yeah. I mean, I don't think it's as bad as they say because it is a it is a carb, but yeah, it doesn't have a lot of nutrients, so it basically can just make you fat if you eat too much of it.
That's the thing.
But
Yeah, that's why I was.
yeah, so um but yeah, I mean like me, I used to just love eating rice with butter on it. Like I used to just eat that, which is
Same.
like a double whammy for gaining weight. But I never gained weight. I was never somebody that easily gained weight, so um like I could eat a lot of rice and still I would gain a bit of weight, but I wouldn't get like really fat or anything. So um but yeah, I love rice. I love Asian food with rice and Indian food with rice and all that stuff.
Yeah, same
I
here.
wonder,
That's what.
I wonder
What's
what
up?
rice equals. I said I'm just wondering what rice equals. Okay.
97. The 97.
Yeah. 35.
The 1099 is interesting because I think like divine feminine equals 1099. I think.
Oh, really?
It's or it's. I have more of my notes on my computer at home, so and I'm just trying to remember things. I might be wrong. Yeah, I don't think I'm right. I can't. Oh yeah, Fibonacci. Go to Fibonacci. Go down.
Oh, yeah.
Fibonacci.
Okay, I see it.
Yeah.
1099. Good memory. But you know
look. I
what's
remember. I remember.
crazy about this also?
What's up?
Go ahead. Go
Oh no,
ahead.
no. I was just, the reason why I remembered that one was because I think when I saw it, I was thinking about like taxes because I used to file 1099 forms.
Here, or did you want to go inside?
I'm gonna cook more, so
Okay. Here. And did you want chopsticks or
That's fine.
okay?
yeah, you can have this.
I'll get
That's
some.
right. Oh yeah, because I was just saying, 'cause I used to file like 1099s, like for taxes.
Uh-huh.
So then I just remember when I saw that, I was like, oh, I just stuck with me.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't even think of that until you said it. I was just thinking it's interesting. You know how divine feminine equals 9/11, right? But 9/11 this year will be the 255th day of the year.
Oh, that's right.
And this 651 is interesting for the divine feminine because 651 is the amount of days after Queen Elizabeth died that Sutherland died.
Oh, yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, so do you remember how this was all about the 93, Clash at the Castle was 93 weeks after the first Clash at the Castle, which was on 9/3, and then 93 weeks is exactly 651 days, which is the 21st, pentagonal number. And this could again connect back to the rose because rose does
Wait,
equal
whoa,
21.
Wait, did you
Huh?
go back to where you just were?
Where was I?
I think it was divine feminine.
Hold on.
Oh, sorry if you pointed this out already, but
I can't spell right now. All right, there you go. Divine feminine.
go down. Down more. Yeah, it's 63 in keypad. Did you already point that out?
Oh no, I didn't.
Dang, that's interesting.
Interesting. I mean, yeah, because it was on 6/3, the Revelation 12. Yeah, in the 63. Yeah, there's probably something there with the 63 because JFK also had that 63, died in 63. Trying to
Oh,
think what I
and
was.
isn't oh, it's interesting because 9 times 7 is 63 too.
Right.
97.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see if I can get this thing to clear out so I can use it. Why isn't it working? It's really weird, man. Yeah, it works when you. I don't get it. Yeah, so this thing that Derek added, or he gave me access to, was this date grid. And it's really interesting because you can put all your dates in, give it a label, and then you can line them all up and you can kind of see them all laid out. And there's probably a better way to use it. I'm still learning it, but and Derek's way faster at computer stuff than I am. But so, for instance, if we put in the Revelation 12 sign, man, it's just like this computer doesn't even want to work at all when I'm doing this live stuff, man.
Well, in the meantime, while you're doing that, I was gonna bring up William Sullivan's comment. That was pretty cool. You mentioned that the 255, like 2 times 55, the stories of the towers, because 2 times 55 is 110.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, and
Also, I was going to mention about.
55.
Oh,
Go ahead.
I was going to mention about Chris Benoit. Didn't when he did his finisher from like the diving move, didn't he like open his arms out like Christ? Or am I thinking about something else? Did he?
Yeah, he did.
Okay.
Yeah, but he was also known for the sharpshooter.
Oh, that's right. Oh, I forgot about that one.
Look at this, his debut.
What?
He debuted on 11/22. You kidding me? And his move was the sharpshooter. Like one of his famous moves was the sharpshooter. So he debuted. Was it 22 years to the day of the JFK assassination? Oh, he debuted in Calgary. Wow. So Calgary is also where another NHL team plays, and they're known as the Flames.
Oh,
So
that goes
again, you have this
ties
fire,
into the fire. Yeah.
which I was actually going to bring that up earlier because I already knew that the Calgary is the Flames. If you look up the NHL team, the Calgary Flames. So yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, guys, watch out for something tomorrow with some sort of ritual connecting to Chris Benoit for sure.
It's funny you bring up the Flames too, because do you remember the Bure brothers? Like Pavel Bure and Valerie Bure?
Yep.
You do remember them?
Yeah, I do. Mm-hmm.
Like my mom told me yesterday, I guess. But do you remember the show Full House?
Yeah.
So DJ Tanner, I guess she married Valerie Bure, and I guess they both go to the church that I grew up going to.
Oh, really? Huh?
Yeah. So random.
Like you still go there, or that's just what you grew up going?
That's just where I grew up going. Yeah, I
Oh,
go
okay.
somewhere closer to my mom's new house. It's actually funny because today
Oh, well, this is.
is that
I was just gonna say this is actually really insane because the Calgary Flames started out as the Atlanta Flames, and you know where Chris Benoit was also based out of Atlanta.
oh wow.
And actually, the murders happened in Atlanta. And if you really look back at everything that's happening right now, it's all connected to Atlanta. Everything is connected to Atlanta. I never mention it, but everything that's happening right now is connected to Atlanta. Like I'm telling you, like Cody Rhodes from Atlanta area, Georgia Guidestones.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
Georgia.
like
Yeah.
everything goes back to Atlanta. Like that I've seen, there's always a connection to Atlanta somehow. So, and I think that's because Atlanta kind of represents, you know, I don't know how to explain it, but represents kind of like the well, Atlanta
Wait, six?
equals, huh?
Oh no, I was gonna say because it looked like 6079 Smith wanted to join. I was gonna say unfortunately I might have to maybe end around like maybe 20 minutes, if that's okay with you, Cody.
Yeah, no, that's not a
But yeah,
problem.
so 6079. It would be cool to talk to you sometime. So if you want to join sometime, we could definitely plan that in advance. I'd be down for today if I'm just today just kind of I'm visiting my mom. So, but on another weekend when I'm back home when I have like more time, I'm down to have other people too. I think Dr. Savage said he might be down one day too. That'd be really cool.
Well, I mean, I need to plan a round table. I just haven't been able to get around to like an actual round table, but I'm also thinking about reaching out to a few other people in the community I have never had on before. Maybe even hoping to get like Decode Your Reality on. He's the big channel. Haven't
Jurassic
talked
would
with
be
him yet.
cool.
Yeah, I also haven't had a chance to have Jurassic on. So there's a lot of people I want to have on, and W. Smith, he's always had great. He has a channel himself, so make sure you guys go subscribe to his channel. He has some great. He's always making some great finds with like the date measurements, and yeah, he has great info. So it'd be cool to have him on as well.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for that because
and then Dr. Savage. Yeah, they are. Dr. Savage also, he's somebody that's long overdue to come on the channel. But yeah, but yeah, I don't want to keep you too long, man. I just was getting on here to make some connections, and I don't know if there's anything you wanted to specifically talk about, like connecting to all this or whatever if you want the screen back. Do you want the screen back?
No, it's okay. We can just continue with because yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to really share, to be honest.
Yeah, I know you're so much busier these days with work. You don't have quite as much like research, but
yeah. Well, I mean, just like with the stuff that I've just been sharing the past, like recently with in my community, and then the video I made yesterday. Oh, 1 second. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I'm still just processing it. I don't know if it's stuff that I just. I guess one thing that's interesting I could share. I mean, we could keep it on your screen though if you're okay with sharing it. Also, Casey, can you look up Katniss Everdeen?
on like Wiki?
The values? No, like the values, like the gematria values.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I was gonna say I looked her up earlier, and I know that if you type in the name Katniss Everdeen, it's the 18th triangular, which again connects back to how old she was. Venus years, man. So yeah. she has so much connections to the 81 and 18.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. So look at the Satanic, the 696.
Yeah.
You see that? Okay, so I'm gonna have you go from like my mom's birth to that 255th anniversary. So can you start at 2/25/1968?
Wait, 225?
Yeah.
Well, that's also a number for Rose.
Yeah, I know.
Crazy.
And then
and I always say this, but that's so crazy that your mom is born like literally. My mom's born the one day before that.
Wait, in that same year?
Not the same year, no, but just a few years before. Not many years. She's born in 65, so 3 years and 1 day before your mom.
Yeah, and my mom and my sister are 2 days apart. Like their birthdays are 2 days apart.
Really? So your sister's born. Your sister's
27th.
born, which is again connected to Venus.
And
Interesting.
yeah, but now go to the end date. Can you make it 6/3/2024?
Did you see that your mom and Katniss are born 171 days apart? Katniss Everdeen 171.
Oh no, I did not.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
6'3" this year, right?
Yeah, and then I think it's lunar months.
Oh, 696, yeah.
Yeah. So
Exactly.
what the heck? Because I remember finding the 696 before. Like I think I had looked that up before the thing happened with Donald Sutherland. I think it was around. I think it might have been like after the 17th, like after you made like the Corpus Christi stuff, and I think so it was like before, so I remember I saw it was 696, and then I wrote it down. I was like, all right, just look out for 696, and then yeah, then I realized that Katniss Everdeen is 696, and then like it's crazy because the day that the day before I was born, my mom was at the hospital. So if you type in October, can you start at October 6th, 1991?
But bro, did you notice that your mom was
Holy
born
crap.
255?
Wait. Well, okay, go back to the 30th. That's pretty crazy. That is really crazy. But go back to now. Click on that, or without the end date. Without the end date, and click on
This?
that. Yeah, it's at 23/19th prime. I believe.
It is?
I believe so.
Oh, really? Wow.
Oh
Good
my
memory.
god.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I know I'm trying to like, because she's like, I don't want her to hear this stuff. But remember how I told you that she was friggin' I think she was 666 months when Bray Wyatt died. Like exactly 666 months.
Yeah. And 227.
It's friggin'
Yeah.
weird.
There's some crazy code here with I mean, not everyone has this type of insane connections like however this is playing out, like your mom and dad and you have this like super crazy connections, man.
Yeah. And it's crazy that like it had to do with Bray Wyatt, with him dying, and that's why I'm so thankful for you and like the work that you do, because you point out things that I would never think to point out. Like I don't think even with the Chris Benoit stuff, I don't think anyone else would suspect at all that anything going on right now is connected to him. I haven't thought about him in so long. But then you prove that like these things that people like, who would think that they would be using Bray Wyatt for these crazy like biblical things playing out. And that's why it was crazy for me how when you shared all that stuff with him and the Firefly Funhouse and Can You Keep a Secret, and how that played out exactly with my work when the day that when he showed the 6/11 date, and on that same day, that's when I pretty much ruined the baby shower for the girl that was pregnant that I'm replacing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, so then I thought about that too. So when that happened, and I thought about Bray Wyatt, and I was like, oh, that's crazy, because my mom, she was 666 months when he died, and then there's that whole, the mother connection. Like that girl, she's pregnant, she'd be a mother, and then my mom with Bray Wyatt, and just weird.
Yeah, it is all perfect, man. Like the way it lines up with what you've been like, with everything that's been happening, And I think, like what I said, or like what I wrote to you earlier about the, like, I know sometimes it's hard to process, but like really it's just a way to feel like you're walking your path, man. Like you should feel like ecstatic because really you're seeing your own code play out, and it's just showing that you are, walking your path as you're destined to do. And that right there that's a beautiful thing because like everything that you're finding and how everything's connecting, you would never find that unless you were looking for it either. But at the same time, the fact that you are aware of it and the fact that you are finding it and the fact that it's so aligned means that not only are you walking your path, which I don't believe anyone can ever get off their path. I feel like we're being led through this, and we're like, in a way we're kind of like puppets on a stage. But at the same time, like you're seeing that code play out, and not only you're like a puppet. Remember that quote I shared with you? A puppet is um a puppet is only something until he learns to love his strings or something. Like, what was that
Oh yeah,
from?
yeah. Oh, I
There was
forget what you're talking about.
there was something that I don't know where I even got that from, but it's a perfect example. Like a puppet loves his strings. And maybe that's not the right one. Oh yeah, right here. It's the quote says, "A puppet is free as long as he loves his strings." So
Yeah.
the strings
Oh
are
yeah, you're right.
representative of the glue. The glue, right? The strings represent consciousness, God. God is the glue, the substance that holds everything together. That's
Yeah.
why this phrase says a puppet is free as long as he loves his substance, his
Mm,
strings, the thing that ties him to the substance of the infinite consciousness, the substance of God. That's what ties you to. So, like, and because you love your strings, because you're even looking at your strings and you're saying, "Wow, like what the work that you do, the work that I do, that we all do here in this community, we're just basically breaking it down. Like we're learning to break it down basically and see it as it is, and that makes us. For me, I feel free every day. Like I can't say I've ever been like this happy in my life since I started doing this because it doesn't discourage me anymore. Even when I find stuff that's crazy connected to me, like at this point, I just let it happen, and I feel so blessed to be part of it. Like I feel every morning, every day, every second, I feel so blessed to be a part of it because I understand that this is all what I'm meant to be doing, and I would have nothing better than to be what I'm supposed to be. And everyone else should also, you know, everyone also should learn to, and they can't get off their track either. Even if they think that they're not on track, they always are. So that's all I'm saying is that there's something so much more beautiful behind this than what most people realize, and
yeah.
it can't even really be put into words.
Yeah. No, I feel
So
like I completely agree, and I feel that way too. Like I feel I think that's one of my struggles is because I feel the same way. Like it makes me so happy and excited. Like I'm like I said, I'm in awe and I'm completely fascinated. Like even with the things that I found recently, but I think the struggle that I have is like I want so badly for people to know exactly how amazing it is. Like and even like I think that might be how it's set up, like the way that God has planned everything, like for our own synchronicities. Like none of us can know how amazing our own synchronicities are except for us and God. So that's kind of what makes it so intimate, and like we can only understand it to a certain extent, like each other's like own personal synchronicities that we've experienced. Like when I hear yours or if I hear anyone else's. Like I could only understand it to a certain extent, and that's just how it is for everybody. So nobody could ever know exactly. But I think that is what makes it special, because it like you have like this gift that only you can experience, like you and God, and it's like only He's the only one who knows how crazy it is. So it's like it's like meant to be like that, you know. It's like designed like that, I guess. Like for you to be able to have something to share, like an intimate like experience with the creator of it all that no one else could understand.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is everyone is sharing that intimate experience with the substance of life. They just don't realize it. Until you become aware of the fact that you are aware, which is like this. So this book right here I have up is called Being Aware of Being Aware. It's the simplest way to put basically the verse in the Bible that says, I am that I am. So that phrase that God says to Moses is basically saying this: I'm aware that I am aware. So that's simple, beyond all the other stuff that's in your everyday life, all the thoughts, all the feelings, all the numbers. The fact that you're aware in general is the base for all of that. You know what I'm saying? So as soon as you recognize that, everything else becomes a play, becomes a dance that's happening within awareness, because nothing can happen outside of awareness. No one can argue that either. Has anyone ever experienced anything outside of awareness? Have you ever experienced anything in your life outside of that?
Yeah.
And
Because
so what I
I
mean
think,
by that is that awareness must be God's nature. If we want to break down God's actual nature, what he truly is, being aware must be his nature. That's why certain things in this reality are so symbolic. Why is the sun so worshipped? Because the sun represents that shining light of awareness that shines light on everything. Why is Sirius also so big of a symbol? Because Sirius is like the burning bright star, right? Which also represents that bright. And why is light always considered to be, like the biggest thing? Why is light worship? Light's worshipped by many cultures also. The sun, light, Sirius, Venus, even Venus, the bright morning star. They all represent, in a way, awareness or consciousness or knowing. The Oracle of Delphi in Greece says, "Know thyself." It
yeah,
just means know what the true nature of God is, the reality of it. It's just like what
yeah,
he writes here. Everybody is aware. All 7 billion of us. We are all aware of our thoughts, feelings, sensations, perceptions. All people share this experience of being aware. No one can say, I am not aware. Anyone in the chat right now, if you guys can say that you're not aware, we'd all know you're lying. So, like, no one, right, Sean? No one in the chat, no one, and anyone on this planet could never say they're not aware.
yeah. I mean, I just, I guess the way that I guess in terms of awareness, um, I don't know. I guess the way that I can say it is, like at any given time, like I feel like I'm the most aware that I think I can possibly be, and I totally get that concept. It makes so much sense to me. But then when I find out things like I found out like the past few days, with all that stuff and my dad and Donald Sutherland and all that, it like opens my mind to like higher level of awareness, because I'm like, I did not know that this could have been possible. And it like, I feel like the more that my mind opens to like how possible things can be, beyond what I thought it could be, it takes me to new levels of awareness. And like, I feel like the amount of awareness I have now is more than like last week or before I found out this stuff. You know what I mean? So it's like the crazier like these things get, my I guess like my definition of awareness changes along with it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess what I'm getting at, I mean, I get what you're saying, because you're saying that your level of awareness about the connectedness of all things becomes like elevated, right? So that continues to like make you feel like you're small in the universe, really, kind of, in a way. And like all this stuff is just super crazily connected, and you just can't possibly understand how. And but the kind of thing that what he's talking about here is you gotta simplify it for just a second, because it's, regardless of what you find in reality, whether you, okay, so for instance, if you make a connection with your dad, like the connections you just shared, right? Those connections, you're aware of those things because those are either thoughts, images, ideas, feelings, sensations, sights, sounds, right? Like, for instance, your thoughts, everyone's thoughts, they're objects in your mind, right? You have a thought. Even the thought of a number and a connection between something that you've looked up is a thought, right? Everything in your mind is a thought.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
there's you have to distinguish the difference between awareness and the things that awareness is aware of. So for instance, a thought is like, for instance, right now I'm aware of the thought in my head and I'm speaking it, right? I'm speaking it and I'm aware of it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you can have a thought, but every thought, for instance, Sean, is all your thoughts always the same all the time? Do you have the same thought constantly, or are they always changing?
Changing.
So can that be God's true nature? Can that be your true nature? Is because what is the background? What is the background thing that's always there? What is aware of your thoughts? What is aware of all of your thoughts? Like, so for instance, when you wake up in the morning and you think, I need to brush my teeth, right? And then you think, I need to go to work. And then you think I need to drive. And then you think all these things throughout the day. And these are all different thoughts. They're never lasting very long. They're always coming and going. And when they come and go, they reveal themselves to be imposters, essentially, because they're not constant. They're always changing. And same thing with images in your mind, or ideas that you have, or feelings. Same thing with feelings. If you have a certain feeling right now, it's never the same within, your feeling right now is not going to be the same as it is 5 minutes from now. Probably you're going to have different feelings, different sensations. Right now you might be having a sensation that you're sitting on a chair, but later you might be having a sensation that you're walking, right? So all these things are objects in awareness. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're always changing. They're never constant. But what is the one thing that's constant and that's required for you to know all these things?
Awareness.
Yeah, you have to be aware in order to have a thought, to have an image in your mind, to have an idea, to have a feeling, to have a sensation, to have a sight, to have a sound come to your ear. Because what would there be in reality if there was no awareness to be aware of it? There would be nothing. We wouldn't even know we're here.
Exactly. I know what you
So
mean.
God's nature at the basis of everything is simply pure awareness, which cannot be tainted and cannot be changed, right?
Yeah.
So because that awareness that you have in the morning when you wake up and say, I need to brush my teeth, is the same awareness that knows you need to go to work, or that knows you need to drive here or go there, or and this works the same way with all of your number connections and all the connections we make on a daily basis. Is your awareness is always the same that knows all these things. The awareness that knows that you're about the 255 connections is the same awareness that knows about all the other numbers that you know about, that you always bring up so amazingly because your memory is so good. But like, it's, you know what I mean, like there's no change in the awareness itself. It's just, think of awareness as the background in which all these things appear, and
Yeah.
every object in our reality appears. And this also goes for physical things too. Your computer appears in front of you, and then your car appears in front of you. You're aware of all that. So like, this is the hardest thing for the mind to like simplify, to like really come to this place of like, I get it. And then you can kind of go back out into living your life and be like, oh, I know what this is. I am that I am. So I think that's why he calls this book Being Aware of Being Aware, because as soon as you realize that the simplest way to return to God's true nature, your true nature, is to be aware of being aware. And there's only one thing that can be aware of itself, and that's awareness.
Yeah.
So
But do you think that there could be people who like they can grasp that? Like, but then not know about any of like like they still think that things are the way that they appear at face value, like sports and like celebrities and all that.
yeah, I mean, I think the way that this reality works is everyone is actually aware, right? So no one is separated from that. Now you're asking, is does it make a difference how aware people are of what's actually going on in this reality? What seems to be going on, like what we do?
Yeah.
Because what we do is, what we really do is an art. I don't really look at what we do as anything different than a musician, right? Or even somebody who's good at whatever anyone is doing is an art, really. It's a way of expression, a way of making the world, in a way, what we should be doing every day is an art that makes the world more beautiful, that makes things stand out as beautiful, as shows God's nature to everyone at all times, which is why I think the Bible says, be a light to the world, right?
Yeah, but I almost feel like it's like the opposite though. Like I feel like it's like reverse engineering the art that is, because like it's almost like instead of painting the picture, we're like breaking down every element of the picture and showing like
Yeah, and
how they use
yeah,
this in this area, and then but the but I feel like the pictures, they still achieve that, they achieve what they achieve, um, even without people understanding every little detail about it. They just know, they feel how they feel about it just because of how it makes them feel, and like I guess you could arguably say that same thing about sports, like that's sports gives people that feeling. And it's like, whether it's, we still no one knows how it's all being done, but that the result of it, that's what gives people that's what people react to, and that's what makes people feel the way they do about it, no matter how it's being done,
right. Yeah, I mean, for people that are just not, they're just living their lives, they're not really thinking about anything, like not really looking deeper into anything. They're almost like they're just literally a robot mechanism. It's just a mechanism, like as if they're like robots walking through life essentially, and they don't even know why they do what they do, nor do they care, most of them. And I think there's something to be said about that, where those people are even, I mean, again, everything that exists the way it is meant to be there for a reason in a way. So what we do, like what you said, is we kind of break down, we deconstruct. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
But deconstruction is also an art too, because you have to know how to deconstruct in a way that makes sense. And, it's like if you're deconstructing a house and you don't deconstruct it the right way, you might have it collapse on you. Right.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
I see.
So you have to be an artist either way. I think art is essentially what all this is meant. We're all searching like basic things, beauty, love, connection, but a lot of these things, and as humanity is becoming more aware, like for instance, the guy that wrote this book, Rupert Spira, I remember, a few years ago when I really kind of was looking into this, reading some of his stuff and watching some of his videos, and then also reading other things. I remember like he had very little subscribers, but now he's up to like 500 something thousand. And like, I've just noticed that more people are becoming more open and aware these days to a lot of things, not only gematria. I think there's a lot more people out there that are open to gematria than we think, because a lot of them are being basically shadow banned away from us. But I think that humanity in general is becoming more aware, but there's still like a lot of humanity that's still very animalistic, like they're just animals essentially. So there's this kind of like balancing out that's happening, where there's a lot of people that are waking up and like seeking consciousness itself, and then turning that into a beautiful thing. Because if everyone understood this simple concept, the world really truly would be a much more understanding and beautiful place. But the reality is that not everyone understands that yet. So we have this kind of mixture of these people that do understand, and more people every day are understanding, but you still have all these people that have gotten left behind, that are just like basic instinct level humans that, they're holding the rest of us back essentially from like going where I think we're supposed to be going. So in my opinion, it's kind of like this mixture of stuff that's happening right now. And I kind of feel it like in the world. And I just feel like what my role is just to be there every day and just to show people like it's exactly what we do every day, show people that there is more to it.
Yeah, at least like that's literally like, that just sums up my intention just perfectly. Like that's all I want for like, it's with everything that I share and everything I do, like all I want is to show people that there's more. That's literally like all I'm, and that's what makes things like, and I don't even just, it's not even like a black and white type of thing, like I feel like there's still like even people amongst truthers that still need to have their eyes open to what more there is. Like a lot of truthers, like I don't know if you ever went down this route, but I think for a lot of people, and I was like this too, but a lot of people, they start as truthers by just like pointing out the satanic symbolism, like the hand symbols, and that's it. That's all they do, and they think that that's the whole point of it all. Just exposing Satan. Like number one, that's like, so they just find all like the Illuminati symbols, the music videos and the concerts and all that stuff. And then So I was on that wave for a decent amount of time, and then um, so I think that's just one example of how like even truthers, you know, need to. Um, it's like there's always room for growth. I think even where I'm at right now, like I'm, I know that there's probably things that I still need to learn, and that I need to have my eyes open to completely. And I mean, I'm eager to find out what that is.
Yeah, and I think that as soon as the base layer is taken care of, which is just realizing the nature of reality and the simplest form. Once you like truly feel that and experience that, which is what he says here, being aware of being aware, that is the simplest, that is the base layer that every other info that you ever learn should be built upon, the foundation. Realizing that in order to even know the things that you're learning, there has to be awareness first. So, and that's God. That's kind of like giving reverence to the idea that, wait, I couldn't even know even that I exist unless I'm first aware. So, and then everything else that you learn, like what we learn on a daily basis, whether it's symbols or numbers or planets or whatever we learn, that's just icing on the cake. This
Right.
that's just diving into the reality and exploring it and
Right.
being
Right.
like gold diggers, right? Bringing out the gems, bringing out the connections every day, and
Yeah. That's a good way.
it
That's a good way to put it.
it just becomes, because for me it's such a beautiful feeling, and I wish that more people could really experience what I feel on a daily basis, where because every day I wake up and I realize that the first thing that I need to know is that I know, or the first thing I need to know is that I am aware, or I am that I am. And then everything else that I learn or experience throughout the day is just icing on the cake. It's just me being a part of this dance of reality, or this dance of consciousness, because again, without awareness, I would not be able to know any of it. I wouldn't even know that I am. you know like, if you just think about that simply, how crazy it is that without that essence, that substance of awareness in reality, none of us would know even that we exist ourselves. So that is required. It's the only thing that's required in this reality. If you really think about it, it's the only thing in our experiences, in our own individual experiences. This isn't some thought that's just brought out of nowhere, because we all know that in order to experience our reality, we first have to be aware. There's and if we weren't, then what would there be? Because no one's ever experienced not being aware. Because go ask every human being on earth and say, have you ever experienced not being aware? No one will be able to tell you no. But if you ask them, have you ever experienced the Illuminati? Some people will be able to tell you yes, some people will be able to tell you no. Or have you ever done this? Have you ever done that? Everything else, if you think about it, people could say, yes, I have, or no, I haven't. But the one thing that none of us can say, can disagree on, the one thing we can never disagree on, is that we all are aware of our own experience.
Yeah.
Like,
I know what you mean. And that's true.
and it's so simple though, that once you really fully experience it, the simplicity of it in your mind, like, then it's just like it's an aha moment that like really sets you free in such a big way. Like, it's like, wow. Like, it's and a lot of times the mind gets in a way too, because the mind wants to keep making things complicated, like the mind, and especially in our work, it's very easy to be like it's very easy to be like, oh wow, like, and make things so complicated, especially with what we do. Like, but the mind is always trying to do that, because the mind is a tool that's meant to make connections and solve problems.
Hmm.
So ultimately the mind is trying to make things complicated all the time because that's what it's meant to do. But consciousness or awareness is not the mind. Consciousness is, again, it's the essence of the mind, but it's not the mind. So, like, and William in the chat said, like, so what happens when somebody gets amnesia? Well, they're still aware that they have amnesia, right? They said, okay, well, I forgot this. You have to be aware. There's, like, I'm not talking about like something that's no one's ever experienced, because everyone has experienced it. So if I had amnesia right now and I had said I forgot everything that um, I've ever known, I have Alzheimer's or whatever, and but it doesn't change awareness because I'm still aware that I've forgotten. So there again, there's this constant. That's why in the Bible it always talks about the rock. Like the rock is the constant thing. There's
Foundation.
nothing. Yeah, but the reason that the rock is important is because it's constant. It's always there. It's solid. It's always there. It's immovable. And
Right.
anything that's changing or fleeting or that goes from one to the next or happens, like, again, your thoughts. The thought I'm having now is always changing. Those thoughts, you cannot trust those thoughts because they are always changing. But what's the one thing that's always there, that's aware of those thoughts? The one thing that's not changing in the background, that rock, that's
Right.
awareness itself.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
See, there's awareness and there's the content of awareness. Everything is content. Thoughts are content in awareness. They take place inside of your consciousness. You know them because they take place inside of that. It doesn't matter what thought it is. Even William in the chat, he's having a thought in his head right now that his mind's trying to prove to him that somehow somebody could be aware without being aware, but it's impossible. But the mind is having a thought, which is trying to convince itself that somehow it can exist without awareness. But no one has ever experienced that, truly. Like, I've never experienced it. No one's ever experienced it because I'm always aware. It doesn't matter if I've forgotten something or not. I'm still aware. Even somebody in a comatose state is aware. They just can't speak.
Yeah.
Right? As a matter of fact, I think that people that are in, even somebody that's seizing is aware that they're seizing. Like William's saying, what about somebody that seizes? If you're seizing, you're seizing. Yeah, it's a sucky. It's probably a horrible experience, but like there's no way that you don't know you're feeling that. Like if I was seizing, I would know I'm seizing, but I may not be able to express it in a thought because I'm in the middle of a seizure. So, and it doesn't come from the mind. It comes from like the substance. It's not matter. Again, I don't believe that there is matter. I just believe that there is just one substance. There can't be two substances because whatever is infinite cannot be broken up. Otherwise, it's not infinite anymore.
Yeah.
So what Casey said earlier.
Oh, sorry.
But what Casey said earlier is that our consciousness is limited, which it's not really, because we all share the same consciousness of God's consciousness. We all share that. But the problem is the dream scenario is the best way to describe this. Because when you go to sleep at night and you dream yourself in your own dream, you dream yourself in your own mind, but you dream yourself on a beach somewhere, right? And like this person that you're dreaming in your mind on a beach somewhere, they see the reality that what they're experiencing. They believe that what they're experiencing, the person in the dream is experiencing a beach in Mexico. And to them, it looks like a beach in Mexico. And they say, oh, that must be matter. That must be people walking by me. That must be thoughts in my head. But what are they really what are they really experiencing if you look at it if you took a step back, the dreamer is you, right? But the person in your mind is like the little you that's experiencing the inside of your own mind. You understand what I mean? The environment that the person in your dream is experiencing is your own mind because you fell asleep in bed, but you're dreaming that you're on a beach somewhere, and the person that's in the dream experiencing the beach thinks that there's an environment, but really what they're experiencing is all the mind of the person who fell asleep. They just don't know that.
Right.
And so like every night we experience that. Like I dream myself somewhere and I'm like, yeah, I experienced this, but it's just so hard to explain. It's so hard to explain with words, but there is a feeling that you get when you kind of understand it with experience rather than just with words. So it's like,
Yeah, I did. That's the thing. I do understand everything you're saying on like a conscious level, but yeah, it's hard to it's like one of those understandings where it's just like a light bulb, but it's hard to put into words exactly. Like it's,
because
I mean, you do your best, but it's hard to put into words exactly how you are understanding it.
Yeah, and like it's not even how like
it's like
it's so
it's like
hard
if someone
to-
says like it's like if someone says like, oh, what does it feel like to experience something? Like describe what it feels like to experience something. That's hard to put into words because it's like, well, you just know that's just something that you literally experience, but it's hard to describe it.
Yeah, like there's this. I just keep seeing William in the chat. He's always giving like good rebuttals, which is good because it's good to discuss it. It's good to like until the mind surrenders. I guess that's the point. Until the mind surrenders fully to that and tries to stop complicating it, there will always be these back and forths, these questions, which is good because eventually those questions and those back and forths will lead to that experiencing that you're talking about.
Yeah, because something
mind
that
needs to,
or like something that William's saying. I mean, I resonate with it a lot because, I mean, I used to like have a pretty bad drinking problem, and I would literally like have it would be weird because it would happen so frequently, but I would literally like black out and my whole memory would erase, but I was still physically like awake. Like people told me like, oh yeah, you were up for till like this time, like you were doing this and that, and I didn't have a single bit of memory of it happening, and that would happen pretty frequently. Not anymore because I don't really have a drinking problem anymore, but yeah, like I would be surprised by some of the stories like I would hear, and it's not like it's not like bad stories, but people would be like, "Oh yeah, we had this conversation like until like 2 a.m. or something," and I was like, "What the heck?" Like I do not remember talking to you at all last night.
yeah, and here's how I would say this is where it gets confusing because people confuse knowing something with knowing. Like there's a very subtle difference here that people I think just don't fully see quite yet. Like when I'm not saying I'm perfect and I do, but I'm just saying like there's this very subtle difference between being aware and being aware of something. When you say that you blacked out, and that you could say that you weren't aware of everything that supposedly happened while you were blacked out. You could say, oh, I wasn't aware of that. But if you weren't aware, if you weren't aware, you wouldn't be aware that there was anything to there. If you can wake up and say, I don't know what's happening, you're still aware because at the end of all that, you're saying, I'm aware that something was going on, but I don't know what it was.
Yeah, exactly. And then like just for me to be even have the ability to have a conversation with someone, even if I were to forget about it, there would have to have been some type of awareness that caused me to do that.
Well, it's the same thing when you fall into a deep sleep. It's no different.
Right.
I don't
Yeah.
remember anything in
Yeah.
a deep sleep. In fact, when I go into a deep sleep, that is like returning to consciousness where there is no, because almost what we're talking about now is a subtle difference, but it's very important to understand, because when you fall asleep and you fall into a deep sleep, you don't know anything, right? But it doesn't mean that you're not aware, because you're still, what do you wake up in the morning and say? If someone asks you, did you sleep well? Like if you go into a deep sleep and you wake up and then your partner or somebody asks you, did you sleep well? You say yes. So you know that you were asleep, but you don't know exactly, because there was nothing to be aware of. That is the pureness. And in fact, a lot of people would consider deep sleep or to being blacked out to be in touch with what true reality really is, which is unrecognizable or what would be the word? Indistinguishable. Because the difference between somebody who's aware of things and objects and thoughts, and that's like kind of consciously awake, is they experience distinguishable things. We experience something that's distinguishable. We experience objects, thoughts. But when we go into a deep sleep, our experience is basically pure nothing. It feels like nothing. But it doesn't mean that there's not awareness there. Because
yeah, I know. And
the fact of the matter is that awareness is there. It's just pure. It's not just, there's no borders, because when we're awake, we see borders. We see lines that divide things. You know what I mean? Like our reality when we're awake and we see with our physical eyes is nothing but borders.
yeah,
Like
I know what you
when
mean.
I look at something, I see a table, and then I see a chair, and then I see a flower, and then I see a wall. These are all borders. These are all distinguished things because they have lines, they have separations. But in a deep sleep, there is no borders, right? There's just a plane of potential that you don't even, you're only aware of it because when you wake up the next day, you say, there was something there, but I just don't know how to explain it. But in order there for you to know that you were in a deep sleep, you have to also, there has to be an awareness there. You're just not aware in the way that we experience awareness when we're awake. So like there's just, it's so hard to explain, but if you think about it, there's no experience, because again, how can you say that I had a deep sleep, that I slept good, if you weren't aware that you slept good? Like again, there's this prerequisite that always has to be there. Otherwise, and how could it change? How could the awareness just go away and then come back? Like it doesn't, just like in your normal life, you don't just all of a sudden for like not become aware. Even if you go into a comatose state or you black out, you're still aware. You might not remember it. Like there's just and it's hard because people are always trying to separate these things, so it's so hard to describe. It's really hard to describe. But I mean, I think that certain people do a better job than me, maybe. But I mean, I try to at least give people the experience of what I'm experiencing myself. That's all I try to do. And I know everyone else is also experiencing the same thing in that regard. I mean, they might not have the same thoughts and feelings I have, or the same opinions I have, but they certainly are experiencing the same thing I'm experiencing as being aware. They know that they are. Because even when you go into a deep sleep, you still know that you are. And who is the person that you know that you are? What is that? So,
Well,
like, who is it
what's the
that
answer to
is
that?
aware? What's that?
Well, I was gonna say, what's the answer to that?
Like, who is aware of what I just? Sorry, what I just said. Who is aware? Who is it that is aware? Well, it must be awareness itself. Because what
Hmm.
what can be aware other than awareness? Is there any other thing that we've ever experienced other than awareness that's aware? Is an object that you is a thought really aware, or is it just an object inside of awareness? Like you have
Right.
a thought that you are aware of. Like for instance, right now, when I'm speaking to you, I'm aware of this thought or this word I'm speaking. I'm aware of what I'm saying, I'm aware of what I'm thinking. But is that thought itself, if you took awareness away from that thought, would that thought be able to be aware of itself, or is that just an object that awareness is aware of?
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
If you look at everything as objects inside of awareness, it becomes much simpler because like it's like a matrix, a womb. Consciousness is a womb that can forever expand because it's infinite. And therefore, for instance, how many different things can you be aware of? You can be aware of a million different things. You can be aware of a
Yeah.
book, you can be aware of a mouse, you can be aware of a dog, a cat, a wall, a
And
piece
then
of grass.
not even just a book, but any page in a given book, and then any word on a given page, and
Every letter on a page you can be aware of.
yeah.
Like right now, I'm aware of this Y on my screen right now. It's just the letter Y. But then I can be aware of the letter O or the letter U. Or I can be aware of the numbers at the top. Every single thing you're aware of it, right?
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense.
And it's the same thing with a thought. I'm aware of what I'm thinking right now, but they're always changing.
Yeah.
So what people do is they associate their reality with, they think that thoughts come from somewhere outside of, well, they think that thoughts are the reality. They think that the thought is itself an entity. I guess they don't realize it's just an object, that the only way I know what I'm thinking right now is that I'm aware of it. Like it's such a brain teaser. The reason it's so hard to understand is because your brain is trying to complicate it, but it's very simple. It's like the only reason I'm aware of anything is because I'm aware of it. Otherwise, there is nothing. Like there's no way that you can know anything without first being aware of it. It doesn't matter what it is, whether it's it going into a deep sleep or whether if you blacked out and go comatose, there's always the awareness there. Like, and everyone, like when I go to a deep sleep, in my experience, I go to sleep, I fall asleep, and then I wake up and I know that I fell asleep and I slept. Now, what I experience is that there was nothing there, but that's the best that my mind can do.
But I guess one thing that's hard is because aren't you, like, if you're aware that you're sleeping, can't you only be doing that if you're lucid dreaming? Because like because sometimes
No,
don't you think?
I just mean that I just mean that once I
Because
wake
I know
up,
that. Well, yeah, because I know that like when you wake up, like afterwards, but um, so it's like if you're in the middle of sleeping, like, are you saying that you're aware of it even if you're not aware that you're aware of it?
but who's the who? Like the question is always like, who's the who that's aware? Is Cody the who that's aware, or is it just awareness itself, that the whole, like the reality itself, what I experience, even my body, that's where it gets confusing, because this is where we have to talk about sensations, because you feel your body, right? You feel when someone pinches you. You're aware of that. You feel your butt on the chair when you're sitting. You feel the eyes that you're using to see things. You feel that stuff. There's sensations in the body. But when you sleep, for instance, if you were to be sleeping in a deep sleep and someone pinched you, what was it that, if there was no awareness there, what was it that woke you up when you got pinched? You know what I
But
mean?
what about like at any given time when like some of us are awake or asleep and some of us are awake?
Yeah, like that would just be like having to kind of understand like the reality as a whole, like with the dream scenario, right? Picture God as infinite awareness, pure awareness, untouchable awareness. It's just a light that shines, right?
Mm-hmm.
And picture all of us as limited, as above, so below representations of that, basically. So picture awareness as dreaming this whole thing up. But the difference between our dreams and awareness and the ultimate reality dreams, God's dreams, is that we can only play one character in our dream. For instance, when you do have a dream, you dream that Sean is on a beach somewhere, right? And you can only experience yourself as one person in that dream. So you take the form of the little Sean in the dream. But in this reality, it would seem like, again, this is experimental understanding of this concept, but basically the ultimate reality itself would be experiencing every single one of us because of its infinite. It's infinite, so in itself, it's impossible for it to be anything other than itself. So like I said, if you have God being infinite, there can't be anything outside of that. And in fact, there's no border to that. So what I think what we're all experiencing is that same substance. So when, like what you asked is what happens when one of us is asleep and one of us is awake? Well, consciousness itself, the ultimate reality, is experiencing that. God is experiencing that all at once.
Yeah, I know what you mean. And I know what you mean, yeah.
Like the best way that we can do it with our limited words and our limited experience is that we can try to describe it. That's the problem, is that we're like limited aspects of that, even though we're connected to that ultimate infinite reality. We are limited because in order for there to be things, it's almost like the story of Jesus is an example of that. Jesus had to come into reality, right? Jesus was God, which means he was infinite and he was everywhere and he was unchanging and he was undivided. But he had to come into reality as a small human being, right? He had to come into reality. He had to come into himself. He had a dream. Essentially, the way I can kind of look at the story of Jesus is it's God's dream. Jesus is the person that God dreamed himself to be. And he experienced the whole inside of his own dream as Jesus. And he tried to tell the people, for instance, his line says, "I and my Father are one." He tried to tell them with that word that say, he's trying to show people, I and my Father, which the Father is the ultimate reality, are one. I come from the same place and I'm inside of that ultimate reality, in fact. And so are the rest of you. You guys just don't necessarily recognize it. You still are. Just because you don't recognize that you're part of the ultimate reality doesn't mean that you aren't. You could be part of it and not even recognize it. Like most people. Most people are there's no levels to this. Everyone is part of it. but some people just don't recognize it. So they just don't have this understanding, and therefore their lives are more like their lives are more like, I guess, not as alive. They probably don't feel as much. In fact, I can't say that that's true, because even somebody who's just fully not even aware that they exist inside of God, of the ultimate reality, they can still live a happy life. I mean, there's plenty of people that are absolutely unaware of any of this and live fully to the extent of the happiness that they can live. Like they
Yeah,
can
I
feel.
think exactly. That's what I think I was trying to bring up earlier too. That's what I agree with that, and that's what kind of makes me wonder. I'm like, I guess it makes me wonder why I do what I do. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that's the question that
we could,
always comes up, because when you think back to you before you really started to like be more attentive to things and like look into things, like be more aware, I guess. You might I could say that in a way, what's the saying? Ignorance is bliss. So that in a way is kind of just saying what I just said in a nutshell, because ignorance is bliss. There's lots of people in this reality that are part of awareness. Because again, you cannot be separated from it. You cannot be separated from God. It's impossible. Otherwise, you wouldn't exist. There's only existence, and whatever is outside of existence, there is nothing. So even people who aren't aware of that are still part of that, and they don't even know it, and yet they can still feel content and happy, and they can still be walking their path without having any idea what's going on. And the people like us, we've kind of these people that have to bear like the brunt of the suffering in a way, because we decide to look into things a little more closely, and then we can either choose to go on the whole, we either go on the whole path, or there's lots of people that probably just go back and give up and just say, I'm just going to live. But once you've had this awareness, you can't forget it. Like Sean, it's impossible for me and you to forget what we know now. So once you've already taken that step, that's kind of like saying, okay, well, this is what I'm destined to do. I'm destined to be one of those people that analyzes the reality rather than just experiences it without caring or knowing, ignorantly experiencing it. So, but
yeah,
before,
I was gonna say,
go
like, at least for me, I feel like it does keep me from just being able to fully experience everything how maybe I should.
You mean like what you do, like you're saying, like what you're doing now, like it keeps you from like fully living? That's what you're saying?
Um, it can, but it's like I don't know. It's like an investment for me because I'll allow myself to get like I guess sucked into like this work, but it ends up being worth it because then I'll find out these crazy things like what I found out with the whole thing with my dad and Donald Sutherland and stuff, and it makes me like appreciate everything around me so much more because I'm like I have a better understanding of the world around me when I see how insane these connections are. So it helps me like when I am decoding and stuff, I don't feel like I'm really experiencing life, but it gives me like a higher understanding. And when I do go out to experience life, I feel like I can experience it better because now I understand what's around, where I'm at, and what's around me, like with more clarity.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, I get what you mean. Like, a lot of times I feel like I'm not experiencing, and I think people like what doing what we do, we can't get obsessed with it, and we can't kind of forget about the basic simplicity. That's why when I wake up, I'm always reminding myself throughout the day, I am aware I am being aware of being aware. Consciousness is the simple step. And whatever I do throughout the day, whether I choose to decode or not, or whether I choose, like this weekend, I really didn't do any decoding very much because we were doing things, me and my girlfriend. So I think it's a balance, and I think that it's good to take breaks but ultimately you should do what you feel you are inspired to do at all times. You should be inspired to do the things you're doing. Not that we don't have to sometimes.
I kind of like I noticed the like the like the different the differences in my like whatever my mood is, and but I real quick I have to wrap up pretty soon, but I'll just finish with this thought. So like there's times when, because like my mom, she lives like a few hours away from where I live, so I have like a lot of time to like listen to something, and I guess the difference between me being able to like just enjoy life or not is like, you know, when I'm like, all right, I need to put it on like a video, or like maybe one of your videos or someone's videos, and like just like learn decoding, like listen to it while I'm driving. Or on the other hand, I can just put on music that makes me feel good and just enjoy like the drive. And when I'm in that zone where I'm like, oh, I just want to learn, I want to like, I just want to, you know, all that, it makes the drive go by pretty fast, but I'm not really experiencing it or absorbing it. I'm just like, it's like kind of like done in like before I know it, I'm already at my mom's house. But then like on the other hand, I can literally play music the entire way through and just like soak in every second of, you know, like the weather, like if I'm driving past the ocean, or just like things like that, and just the way that the music makes me feel, and just like being present in that sense. So
yeah, and that's exactly what everyone has to do in life, you know. No matter what they're doing, they're always in the moment, and they're always aware. And no matter what it is you're doing, and no matter what it is you're aware of, the one, like I said, the one thing that it is required for you to know you're even driving down a road, and to know you're even experiencing the music or the nature, is you have to first be aware. And that's the beauty of it. The beauty is like just that simple understanding that I am. And that's why I think that's what God answers in the Bible to Moses. I am that I am. It's actually just as simple as that. Like there's really no words required. Everything I've said in this video could be summed up in the I am, or just saying I, because that's the recognition. For instance, you say that you fall asleep into a deep sleep, but who is the I that falls asleep into a deep sleep? Who is the I? It's awareness. It's that thing that must be required. And regardless of whether you're doing decoding or listening to music, that thing is present. And that's the beauty of it. And as soon and when you really like feel that in your deep within, and you remember that's like such a beautiful feeling, because then it's like, wow, like I am. And then it's just like simple. And then everything else that you do can just be you doing what you feel like you want to do to pass the time, right? Or really what we do in life is only just to seemingly pass time, to fill our time with something. So time is kind of an illusion anyways, but at the same time, this is the reality that we're living right now. So we kind of stuck in the laws of reality at the same time. But it's beautiful that you can either listen. And I love, I need to do this more, but just laying down or just driving or just doing, doing work and then just listening to a music. So because music makes you present, and it's a way to enjoy something beautiful in this world. And just like walking in a park and looking at the flowers, or in just going on a hike, those things is what brings the most peace to people. Most people consider going on a hike in the woods to be one of the most peaceful things you can do. At least I do. Or even just going to a park and sitting on a bench and just hanging out with your friends. I mean, that's also simple, but it's so simple. It's something we always forget to do. And I wish the world wasn't such in a hurry all the time to make money and have a society where material things are of the utmost importance, because ultimately we have so many extra material things in this world that we could just imagine if we could reallocate our time, all these companies that exist and all these employees that exist to make things we don't even need. For instance, all the kids' toys that exist in this world that don't even get played with by kids, or all the plates that don't even get used in a house. Half of them just I know that most houses I've been in, most people don't even use the whole wardrobe of plates that and spoons and knives they have. You know, we live such overly abundant lives that we can't even live simply, because now in order for us to maintain this overly abundant reality society we live in, we have to work harder. So therefore we have to have more jobs, we have to have more people doing the jobs, and then we have to have more hours doing the job. So therefore there's no time to even be aware of your being aware, because you're so busy working for money in order to keep the society running, because now it requires way more effort than what it should. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you too.
So it's just sometimes I wish we could all just stop for a minute and say, do I even need half the stuff that I live for on a daily basis? And because for me, I don't need a lot. I'm so simplistic. I'm not saying everyone is destined to be like that, but for me, that's also why I feel like I live with so much peace a lot of times nowadays, is because I don't need much. I can travel the world and with everything I have in my backpack. Not everyone can live that simply, but even if everyone lived simpler, more simply, you know, I just think about all these companies out there that make all these things, and what if we allocated all that time and money to feeding the homeless, and giving people love? The reason that people are homeless on the street is because they have no fellowship, no love, no true understanding. They have no one to like help them, not with physical things, but with like actual substance, which is what we're talking about now, like having deep conversations about the true things that matter. And that's more valuable than anything I could give anyone, in my opinion, material wise. So you have people living on the streets, you have people turning to alcohol and drugs to pass time just to be happy. And but the reason is because everyone's ignoring the simple things. And then these people, that the homeless people on the street, they're people that just want to live a simple reality, but they can't because they live in a society that's too complicated. So they get basically pushed out, and now they're living on the street. And now they're turning to drugs. And now they're stealing because they need money to have their drugs. So then everything's just chaos. So
Yeah. I mean, it could have
I don't
been.
know.
I guess the order could have been a little bit different too, because I know sometimes the drugs is what leads people to become homeless. You know, like
That too, yeah.
yeah.
But that's
But I,
also
but I still
because,
know what you mean though.
yeah, I mean that's true, because I don't have experience with that, to be honest. A lot of people have that experience that I don't, because I've never even been drunk in my life. I've never even been in a state of drunkenness, um, from alcohol. So I don't, unfortunately, I don't always, I can't speak from experience on that aspect. But what I can speak from experience is that, as someone who has never been drunk or any kind of high or anything like that, is that reality is so beautiful without that stuff. In my opinion, it is. Like, from what I see, I've never needed that stuff, never even been desired to have that stuff, because I don't know. I always thought everything was so beautiful. Like, I always thought just a simple hug with the person that you love was just so much more beautiful than anything I could ever experience with a drug. You know,
And
and
you're
I
very
always,
blessed that you were like that from the start. I know it
yeah, I am.
takes people like a long journey to get to that point.
I am very blessed that I do feel very blessed that for some reason I've always been aware of that. Like, I've always been like, why would I want this? Like, because I always just felt I've always been this so optimistic person. I've always been like a kid. I'm even still like a kid now. Most of you guys can probably already feel that. I'm just like a kid. Like, I see so much beauty. I see so much potential. I see so much love and so much in this reality that gets tainted by, you know, it just gets tainted because people don't realize that there's something right there that they're missing. And like, I feel like I see it, but I can't force anyone also to see it. So I feel a little bit helpless in that aspect because I've watched most of the people in my life go out to drugs or alcohol. My dad was an alcoholic. My mom, I mean, she did drugs and alcohol in her early years. I mean, my stepdad can't get off the cigarettes and he's killing himself from that. My sisters and my brothers, my one brother, I mean, my cousin, he was a drug dealer. My uncle died of overdose. I just see all this stuff and I'm like, why are people turning to this? And for some reason, I cannot understand it because to me, it makes no sense. And I never desired that. Even when I felt the most shitty in my whole life, man, like after my first wife left me, I never even once considered going for a drug or anything. I just needed to go to nature. That's what I wanted to do. When I was at my lowest, I wanted to go out into nature and just be alone. Like, not one time in that whole experience. And I remember many nights just crying my eyes out because I was so destroyed. But for some reason, this reality has not ever given me the thought of wanting those things that most people turn to. And then those things usually create just a horrible downward spiral that just, like what you said, people start drugs and then it just turns into this horrible downward spiral that just causes a bunch of other snowball effects that just turn somebody into I mean, just look at these people living on the streets in like Philadelphia and stuff. They're like comatose from so much drugs. Like, it's just crazy to think that someone would want to go down that route. You know, for me,
Yeah.
it's crazy, but I know for most people that it's hard for them to even not go down that route because everyone is trying to fill up their emptiness with these things like these drugs. And the only thing that they can think to do is to go after that stuff.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And then it takes you down like a path when because I was, because I had a problem with the something I was prescribed to, and I was only taking it as much as I was prescribed. I wasn't abusing it, but it was literally making it almost impossible for me to get out of bed without it, and I became like it made me so irritable, and when I what's it called? Like, I was forcing myself to get off of it, and the withdrawals were like I just like felt like so much depression, like from like I'd never felt depressed in my life before I experienced that. And it's like, yeah, like it really is like a downward spiral once you open like Pandora's box. And it's like when you're standing at the beach and you put your feet in the like just at the on the shore, and then you just stand there, and then the water keeps pulling you in. You don't even realize that you weren't even trying to like move in closer to the water, but then like after a few minutes you realize that you're like way further in than you plan to be. Have you ever experienced that before?
yeah.
Yeah, it's just like that. It's, and then even like with drinking, it's like once you I think for most people it starts with like pressure, peer pressure, and then once you open that Pandora's box, then like that's why it is. I think it is good to like that. If you've never experienced it, then you're never gonna crave it. But once you, I guess, once you open that door, then it's like your body craves it, and you don't you. It's definitely like controllable, but it just makes it harder to. You have to like fight the subconscious desire to do it.
Yeah, and it makes me wonder, as being somebody who's, and not to say that I had never even tried alcohol before. I did like drink a bit of alcohol, but I didn't really. After that, it was not something I like desired. So I never I've never been drunk. I've never gone so far to be like, oh, I just want to get drunk and forget my life. And I think that's the first thought that comes to people's head. I mean, at least that's, as being somebody who's never had that thought, that would be the first thing I think of when people would want to even do that is, I just want to get drunk and have fun and forget my life. Like that's what I feel like the initial thought is for any type of drug or alcohol addiction, is like, I just need to let loose and forget everything that's stressing me out. And the best way I can see to do that is to use a drug. And part of me wonders if there really is some sort of true magic in the fact that once you take that step, that that it's always a struggle from there on out. Because like what you just said, once you get in, you just keep getting pulled in more, because now you're in. Now you're in. So
Yeah.
is there any getting out after that? Or it's not that saying that you can't have self-control and stop doing those things, but once you're in, is because for me, I've never gotten in. I've never truly gotten in to any type of drug or anything. Cigarettes, drugs, alcohol, nothing. And I'm just wondering if there really is a magic to these drugs and alcohol that truly pulls people in and keeps them in. And unless there's truly a breakthrough, but even somebody that has a breakthrough, who was an alcoholic or a drug addict and then comes back, they still have that temptation there always. So for me, I have no temptation. I have a freedom that most people don't have. And I don't know if many people can understand me, because I'm actually one of the rare ones.
Yeah.
Like, most people can't really understand me and where I'm coming from, because I'm one that I feel like I've never like jumped into that at all, not even close. I've had like half a beer and that did nothing. So it's like, for me, sometimes it feels like sometimes I've even wanted to experience it just so I can feel like what most people around me feel. And the reason that me and my girlfriend have gotten along so long is because she's one of the only people I've ever met that has also never been drunk or in any drug at all. Like, she's exactly like me. And it's just insane, because like most people I know have, I'm not saying it's even a bad thing. I'm just saying, like, it seems like there is some sort of magic to it. Like, truly, once you start, it holds you forever, for the rest of your life. Even if you're clean, you still have the temptation, maybe. So it's like, that is mind-boggling to me, to like think about all that. And I can't say I really understand it, because, like, again, I can't speak from anyone else's experience on that. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, you definitely are a unique person in that sense. But I think it's just really like I think it's comparable to anything that makes you anything that like causes you to feel some type of urge. Like, for any, like, I guess for ordinary people, like, it could be like, I still very much feel like things like video games, or like people who are addicted to video games,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's like basically the same thing as someone who takes drugs,
That was
or
my
like,
addiction. That was my
mm,
addiction. But you know what happened to? Didn't I think I told you this story, but like, I had a thing with my ex-wife and this guy that came into my life, and he was like making me pray in my room all day and whatever. But he told me that I needed to like stop playing video. I mean, like that he had me thinking, like I need to surrender all this. So, and that was just when I was still being very like overly religious, like cultish, you know. But one day I was sitting in the bathroom, going to the bathroom. I know it's weird, and I said to myself, it's time. And I was the person that would sit and play video games for 8 to 12 hours a day.
Oh wow.
I mean, so that was my addiction. Like that was my vice for sure. But what happened was, for some reason, I just said one day, I gotta be done with this. And I literally went downstairs, took my Xbox, and threw it in the dumpster.
Oh wow, that's
And
crazy.
that was a huge step because first of all, it was expensive. Second, I had a lot of games. I had a lot of stuff invested in that. Lots of lifetime invested in video games. But you know what's crazy? As soon as I did that, never ever since that day have I played a video game again. I literally quit video games cold turkey, and now I don't even have the patience to play a video game anymore. Like I think about like I wonder if I just get back into games a bit. And every time I think about it, I'm like, no, I'm not really even interested. Like it was just so crazy how it all happened in literally one day. And that was like 24 years of it. I mean, that was when I was 24. And I'd been playing video games since I was a young kid, maybe 5. And so that's like you think about it, that's like 20 years of full on addiction to that stuff.
Were you gonna eat?
So,
I ate.
We did.
huh?
Oh, sorry, I was talking to my mom.
But I'll let you go,
But-
man. I know we had a deep talk, but it was good to talk with you, and hopefully everyone in the chat also had a decent time. But
Yeah, thanks for catching up, and yeah, everyone who's been hanging out with us. Yeah, I guess I'll talk to you guys soon. Yeah, I'll hit you up soon.
yeah, man, thanks so much, and hope you have a good time with your mom. Enjoy the time, and just be present with her and enjoy the time. That's the best thing we can do.
Got it.
So
Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate it. I will.
yeah, and everyone else in the chat also, much love to you all. Thank you guys for coming, and thank you guys for listening. And even if you guys disagreed, I still love you. So we don't have to agree on everything, but much love to you all. And thank you, Sean, so much. Thank you, Casey, and thank you, True Spirit and Coffee Girl and Cozy. Much love to you guys.
Yeah, thank you guys. I'll talk to you guys later.
All right, man. See ya.
Ciao, man.